The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Welcome back to I Want That Too, the podcast where Disney merch meets Disney history. And I'm entertainer writer Jim Hill, and as always, I'm joined by the lovely Lauren Hersey. And we're recording this, just moments away from New Year's, right?
Yeah, so the show will be live on New Year's. So first, Happy New Year's. I was just saying to Jim, stealing Len's line here, this is like the ultimate Schmurz Day if Schmurz Day was a week. The week between.
All right, I can get behind. Yeah, that it's just the week of Schmurz Day. That's wow. We should patent that. This is, if there ever is a time of year.
You really should.
Yeah, this is Schmurz Day.
Do you feel that way too?
I mean...
Like, is that a universal feeling of Schmurz Day, like the week between Christmas and New Year's?
Well, I would argue that the holiday for 2025, because... Well, think about it. Well, what is it? Christmas Eve was Wednesday. Christmas was Thursday. And same thing, New Year's Eve is a Wednesday, followed by New Year's Day on a Thursday. None of us know what to do with a holiday in the middle of the week, because didn't you feel compelled on the 26th? Like, well, I really should do some work. It is after the holiday. And, or at very least,
my work was getting all my Christmas stuff taken down.
There we go.
Eric and I are the Scrooges that, like, when Christmas Day is done, we pack it up. We're like, we came, we celebrated, and now we're ready to, like, get our life back in order.
I can actually get behind that. In a weird sort of way, that would make Christmas that much more special. I mean, there are those folks who argue that, Christmas should be celebrated all the way up to Little Christmas, which is the 13th? I forget when it is in January, but it's also known as Three Kings Day, evidently, because it took a while to commute then. You're traveling by camel.
Yes.
And, you show up and, sorry we're late. We do have myrrh. I'm hoping you guys know what to do with this, because we don't, but all right. Anyway.
All right, well, from myrrh to merch, let's get this party started. So we are kicking off the new year with some merch shifts we're going to talk about. So we have the new look for 2026 park souvenirs, where Disney is rolling out a monthly Star Wars collector program. And, we've got to talk about Valentine's Day, because if you have been in the stores at all, we know that switchover is overnight between Christmas and December 26th. But before we jump into all of that, let's thank our sponsor.
Okay, I can do that. And that is, of course, the lovely folks at UnlockMagic.com, the same trusted team behind the DVC rental store and the DVC resale market. And if a trip to Disney or Universal, it is, something you're looking forward to in 2026, Unlock Magic is the smart place to start. They offer great deals on Disney World tickets handled by people who know Disney travel inside and out. So visit unlockmagic.com to grab the best ticket deals and make that future trip just a little bit more magical. All right, now time for the news. So what do you got for us this week, Lauren?
All right, Jim. So since this is the first episode of the new year, I feel like we should start with something that definitely changes over every new year. And that is Disney's dated theme park merch.
Okay, yeah.
And so every year this happens around, like, I feel like the one year we were in the parks together when it started dropping. So maybe the beginning of December is when the New Year's merch starts rolling out. Is that timing about what you recall?
Yeah. In fact, I would back that up. I was in the Emporium in November. I was there midweek. When I was in town for IAPA, Nancy had decided that she wanted a set of Mickey peppermint candy pajamas, and I had to go through the entire left side of Main Street, sort of that super extended Emporium complex, looking for these things. And I will tell you, I did not see a single piece of New Year's merch when I was going through there then. So, and that was I want to say a week out from Thanksgiving. So I think your timeline's right here. I bet this doesn't show up even in the stores starting till mid-December or thereabouts.
Normally we leave like Thanksgiving. We didn't go this year, but every year for the last decade, that's when we go. And by the end of that like first week of December, you started seeing like little drops in obscure places. And I think I told you last year we were sitting with a lady on the monorail, and she had a 2025 pin around that time, and I think it came from Disneyland. So I think the timing tracks, and every year the line is a little bit different. And so since we've had this podcast now, we were in 24, we did all of 25. I had to look back to see, because I wanted to be able to compare what have we seen over the last couple of years to get us to where we're at today. And if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, I think this is like the souvenir that people grab for their once in a lifetime Disney trips. So like this is the line of, the shirts and hats and mugs that have the year on them. So like 24, 25, 26. So did you happen to see this year's new theme?
No, I did not until you were kind enough to hand me in our reference doc that we use when we do this show. Now, this appears to be the stuff for Disneyland's 2026. Now, is this specifically for New Year's, or is this for the coming year, 2026 at Disneyland?
Yeah, so this is actually both. So this is Disneyland and Disney World. The domestic parks, they each get that one unified theme for the year, except for obviously Disney World. It's Disney World, Disneyland. Obviously, you get the gist here. So this is for all of 2026. So 2024 and 2025, they leaned in hard to like neon, bright accent colors, glowing outlines. Like last year, they even had like some stuff that was glow in the dark, very energetic, very like celebratory. And this year, they are, I think, trying something new. So a lot of that neon stuff is way, way, way toned down. And what I'm really excited about is the new color palette, because it went from those bright neon colors to purple and teal and red and orange. Does that like remind you of anything Disney World-ish that you can think of?
I see. I got to remember, I'm old. The color palette you just described to me was the 1980s. And those of us who watch Miami Vice don't want to watch Miami Vice again. So, and on the other hand, what you're mentioning here, the blacks, the deep purples, the muted blues, I can get behind these largely because, well, I don't feel like I'm wearing a Disney World traffic sign,
Well, speaking of Disney World traffic signs, that is where I wanted you to go with this. This is the first thing I thought of when I looked at this new collection is they look like the old purple, red, teal traffic signs from Disney World. Are you saying that's 80s and not 90s? I thought that came in like the Eisner era. When did we get these signs?
Well, what's kind of interesting. Now, if we're talking about the actual entry arches, as the story goes, that was Michael Ovitz's wife. He was the president of the Disney Corporation for, I want to say, like 18 months.
Oh, I remember. All about Michael Ovitz.
Okay. And the interesting thing is that evidently Mrs. Ovitz got lost. She drove off Disney property and then couldn't find her way back on. And she complained to her husband, who complained to Michael Eisner. And suddenly that's why we got these giant arches with mice, and Goofy and Donald. Sort of like, hey, here, you are now entering Disney property. Mrs. Ovitz, you can stop stressing now. But yeah, the actual highway sign, I want to say those came online with Disney MGM in late 80s, 88, 89. But I can see, Lauren with the reference doc for today's show has put one of the signs from on property right alongside a set of Mickey ears for 2026. And you're not wrong. That's the same color palette. Wow, look at that.
Crime scene investigation in my head.
Okay.
I cannot rest until I figure these things out. But it plays really well into, remember like a month ago, we were predicting what Disney's strategy was going to be for consumer products for the new year. We said that they were going to lean heavily into nostalgia, right? Mm-hmm. And what is more nostalgic than the Disney World traffic signs?
It's just going to be weird, though, to walk up to a friend who's wearing a set of Mickey ears and then suddenly feel compelled to turn left or right. But again, they're cool looking.
So we like them. All right. Next up, this one is officially confirmed. Disney has announced a new monthly Star Wars collector program for 2026 called Droid Factory Fridays. And this is very clearly aimed at like longtime diehard Star Wars fans.
And just to be clear here, this is in the Droid Depot, which is located inside Star Wars Galaxy's Edge in Blackspire Outpost, right? Where previously the idea was that you, the customer standing there at the belt with all the parts going by, you do a custom build, right? Where this is very different this time around, right?
Yeah, so these will be available in both parks, Walt Disney World and Disneyland, and online through the Disney Store, with releases going live at 8 a.m. Pacific time, starting on January 2nd. So once a month on the first Friday is when we're going to see these drop. So each droid in this collection program is pre-designed, so we're not making anything, and it's inspired by Star Wars films, Disney Plus series, animation, games, and books, so like the full gamut. And the first release is R5K6, and that is a droid pulled from A New Hope. Are you familiar with this droid? I'm not like a Star Wars buff.
Okay. I'm not going to lie here, folks. Lauren slipped me this material earlier, and Google is our friend, so I discovered that R5K6 is actually one of the droids on the moon of Yavin 5, where the secret base is, where they launch their attack in Star Wars 4 on the Death Star. So long story short, R5K6 is one of the good guys, and you see him periodically as they make the run on that trench. Well, I mean, if you're a big time Star Wars fan, this is kind of a cool thing, don't you think?
Yeah, and so you're going to get rewarded by a perk if you start collecting in January. And again, these are very like time sensitive. So first Friday, 8 a.m. Pacific. But if you collect these from January to June, you're going to receive bonus parts that assemble into an extra figure in June. So that's kind of clever to keep people spending money, right?
That's ingenious / evil. Just understanding the price point of the things that you get from the Droid Depot. wow, you're going to be a grand in, aren't you? But you're going to get a free figure if you hang in there for 6 months.
Parts.
Wow,
You're getting parts.
Wow. Okay, that's clever. That's clever.
I think it's kind of cool, right? And I was like, crime scene investigation, right? I'm like, okay, there's a big anniversary coming up for Star Wars. This is not new for Disney to have these collector programs. Remember, like the Stitch Eats and the Disney Eats, where we got a different line every month in the collection. So I was thinking, like, so tell me, Star Wars 50th anniversary is in 2027, right?
This is true, but also remember that this coming summer we also have The Mandalorian and Grogu. So, what are the odds that, and I want to say that movie comes out in May or June. So what are the odds that maybe we get a character from that film?
Right. So, like, Disney is always about strategic timing. And I'm like, okay, if this is like a celebration of Star Wars, they don't ever start their celebrations when they actually happen. So I was just trying to figure out, like, timing of this. Is it leading up to the anniversary, leading up to the movie? I don't know, but let us know your thoughts. Are you excited about this new Droid Friday drop?
Okay. Cool. All right. And of course, we're about to march into January. And as Laura and I will tell you, because let's be honest, we both live at Target, I haven't been in there this week, but I'm betting the Christmas decorations are down and the Valentine's Day stuff is up, right?
Oh, 100%. And, we've made several visits to Walmart as well, Hobby Lobby. Everybody, like, they are doing that. It seems like an overnight switch from Christmas to Valentine's. It's in full swing. So Disney is just following suit with everyone else.
And toward that end, I guess we need to talk about what's going on out at Disneyland around Valentine's Day.
Yes. So did you know that there is a hard-ticketed event at Disneyland for Sweethearts Night?
Well, you have to remember I work with Drew Taylor, my co-host on Fine Tuning, and I want to say that he and Katie may have done this last year, but it's not just one night, right? It's a couple of nights, right?
Yeah, so it runs from January 22nd through February 17th for 2026. And it's just like a Christmas party or a Halloween party. Like, people can get into the park early in the evening, and then the event itself, like, runs in, into the night after the park closes to, everyday guests like you and me. So it's not just a day. And I don't feel like I knew that this was a thing.
Well, again, that you have to remember, as Jim Schul constantly reminds us, Disneyland is the world's most famous regional theme park, and you and I live on a different coast. We're more aware of what's going on down in Florida, whereas the folks, there's a reason they call it TMZ, the 30-mile zone. The folks in LA who, Anaheim, they're doing their sweetheart night. It's like, okay, let's get some tickets and go out and see what they do. And they do some cool stuff, right?
Yeah. I mean, because then I went down the rabbit hole. I had to see what they do. But, they have special projections on the castle, and they have themed entertainment and dance parties, like rare characters. The normal stuff that you would get at an after-hours event. But now that you're talking about it, it makes way more sense. Like, very rarely would Eric and I get on a plane and fly across the country, just the two of us, because we have children at this point. I mean, we will always have children, but like, if you are regional, you're just like, okay, well, let's grab a ticket and we'll have like a nice date night out and get some themed food. Okay, it tracks. It makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. And again, that is very much the Disneyland approach. They always are looking to get at least two bites of the apple. The notion is they want you to come back. They want you to come during the summer, for the fireworks and, the new parade and whatever. And then they want you to come back for the holiday season. But at the same time, they will lean into these things like, Sweetheart Night, just because there are some people who, okay, I want to do that.
Yes, I mean, my first thought is like I'm gonna whine about it a little bit and say like, well, why don't we get this in Florida? Disneyland always gets all the nice things, but it makes a whole lot of sense as to why they have it. Disney World does it, but Disney World still does, sprinkle in some romantic magic, but it shows up more as like limited time, like food and desserts. You see a lot of it at Disney Springs, like romantic dinner kind of pushes again Disney Springs, and then we do get some Valentine's specific merch, which is not a huge line, but we do get some merch.
Okay, so and since we're now talking the merch, is there any standouts from what they're offering in 2026?
Okay, so I feel like they're leaning into Disney couples this year, which I think is really cute. I showed you a picture here of Chip and Dale, and it looks like Chip is holding up the Be My Valentine sign, and they both look like little cupids. Dale has the bow and arrow, so it's a very, very cute little plush. And then for exclusive plush, you have Mickey and Minnie, and you have to buy these two separately. So their outfits this year are Mickey's wearing like a red vest with a pink heart, and Minnie has her little frilly pink dress. And then on their feet, on the bottom of their foot, you could see that these were Disney Store exclusives, and then they have the year, so 2026.
Okay. So I can see, again, that's aimed at collectors. And what else we got?
Okay, well, I guess we're taking it back to the droids. And this, again, you're a big Star Wars fan. I mean, not as much, but I think this one is adorable. So there are these two droids, and this one is a 2-pack, so they come together. So there is R2 LBU and R2 I know.
Oh, hey. Call back to Leia and Han in Empire. Oh, I like that. Okay.
It's cute. And the little hearts, it looks like like a best friend necklace where they have the heart, like it's broken in the middle, and when you put them together, and they actually say beep boop in the with the hearts. It's very cute. It's $26.99. Like, I really like that.
Okay. That's all right. I that's an interesting way to do Disney or Star Wars couples for 2026. All right. Anything else worth noting as we look over the horizon toward Valentine's Day?
Yeah, I just this little lounge fly I thought was really cute. It's just says to me they were leaning into the couples, because you get Mickey and Minnie popping out of an envelope on the front zip compartment, but you get Donald and Daisy. You even get Mickey and Pluto. It's really cute, and it just celebrates the Disney relationships that we love. So I thought that would be a fun tie to mention. And there were some jammies and other things, but those are the items that Jim and I like.
Well, again, whether you're going to be celebrating Sweetheart Night at Disneyland, or looking for something for someone you love at the Disney Store, an exclusive, it looks like you got some stuff to work with here.
I feel like I want those droids. I think that they would go perfect above my desk with all my other Disney and Universal merch. And I'm not even a huge Star Wars person, so they sold me.
Okay.
Kudos to you, Disney.
Yeah, just be careful, though. Again, if you wind up with 3 of anything, that's a collection. All right. So, and speaking of people who collect things, when we get back from this break, we're going to start off by talking about Stitch, but then we're going to take a look at Duffy the Disney Bear. And to be frank, what a big year he had in 2025. But before we do that, there's this. And we're back, Lauren. And again, this is our first show of 2026, but we want to take a moment to look back at 2025. And as the last year closed, no denying that Stitch had a very good year.
Oh, yeah.
Just to remind folks, the live-action remake of that Disney hand-drawn film, the original was summer of 2002, that made $423 million domestically. Only the Minecraft movie, Lauren, sold more tickets in North America, but even then, it was only $200,000 more. I mean, that's how close the battle for number one at the box office in 2025 was. Now, mind you, worldwide, Lilo and Stitch bested the Minecraft movie. Disney's live-action remake sold 1,038 million tickets globally, where Minecraft topped out at 958 million. That said, Disney's live-action Lilo and Stitch was only third overall at the worldwide box office. Ne Zha 2, that's the Chinese animated film, that made $2.1 billion worldwide, and Zootopia 2, which to date, anyway, has sold 1.4 billion tickets globally. It'll be interesting to see where that Disney film ends up. But anyway, we're just talking about ticket sales for movies right now. Now, this is a merch podcast, and so we're going to talk about merch sales. And in that case, Stitch is in a class all by himself. Lauren, did you get to see that story in The Hollywood Reporter this past week about how Stitch did the live action this past year?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Well, what was interesting about that is, again, they mentioned the $1 billion ticket sale, but that was actually dwarfed by the $4 billion worth of Stitch merch that have sold just in the past 6 months. And which, by the way, remember, the live action version of Stitch opened on May 23rd of this past year, 2025. That was the Friday before Memorial Day, which these days, at least in Hollywood circles, is thought as the start of summer blockbuster season. And this movie did so well that just a month and change after that, on June 26th, and remember, June is the 6th month of the year, so if you break it down, folks, that's 626, as in experiment 626, which is, Disney's actively encouraging this these days, the notion that, June 26th from here on in is supposed to be Stitch Day. And, it's like,
Stitch Day, yeah.
Okay, sure. But anyway, on Stitch Day, June 26th, they announced that the sequel to this live action film was in the works. Want to stress here, we don't know the release date. All we know is that Chris Sanders, the original creator of this character, not to mention the official voice of Stitch and the co-director of the hand-drawn film, again from summer of 2002, he's doing the screenplay. And it's anticipated that Sanders will come back and do the voice of Stitch for whenever this film comes out. But again, that's what we've been paying attention to here in the West. But you got to remember that, Disney has other hugely popular characters. More to the point, the mouse has theme parks all over the globe where a lot of these characters who barely register stateside move mountains of merch every single year. And I am referring, of course, to Duffy the Disney Bear, a character, by the way, that Lauren and I have already discussed at length on I Want That Too.
Yeah.
But as 2025 draws to a close, I want us to take another look at Duffy, Lauren, because over the past 12 months, some pretty significant things have happened to this little plush and his pals. Like what? Well, for starters, it would appear that Disney is once again trying to launch Duffy stateside. And just to recap here, folks, we talked about this on length again on an earlier podcast, but Duffy, originally just known as the Disney Bear, he was launched in 2002 as a product that was offered exclusively at Once Upon a Toy at Downtown Disney. The thing was that shoppers at Downtown Disney, kind of reacted to this, ooh, look, an exclusive plush, like, yeah, okay, sure. So 2 years later, when the Oriental Land Company, that's the folks who operate the Tokyo Disney Resort, when they're looking for something cute to sell guests who visit their two parks, the ones that the Oriental Land Company built the edge of Tokyo Harbor. And, the folks in Florida have a warehouse full of these bears that didn't sell. And so the Oriental Land Company comes over, they look and like, yeah, he's cute. Okay, sure. And so they buy the warehouse full of bears. And Lauren, as the story goes, the Disney Bear first hit store shelves at Tokyo Disney Seas on December 25th, 2005, and it is truly a Christmas miracle. For visitors to the Tokyo Disney Resort, they don't just like the Disney Bear, they flat out love this character. And so they go running into Aunt Peg's Village Store, which is located in the old Cape Cod area of Tokyo Disney Seas theme park. They buy up all the stock, and the Tokyo Disney folks have to find a factory in Asia that can immediately get started making new Duffys. And now word comes back to the States, about and the folks who work in merch at Disney World and Disneyland are like, what? It's like, and to be honest, Lauren, what they want to know is, what do we do wrong? Why is it selling over there but didn't sell here? And as we mentioned on the previous show, what the Japanese had done is they had given the Disney Bear not just a backstory, but they'd given him a name, Duffy. And the backstory, it's basically that Minnie had handmade this teddy bear for Mickey so that when he went out to sea from the port of Old Cape Cod at Tokyo Disney, that he wouldn't be lonely when he was out on the ocean having Mickey Mouse related adventures. Now, again, that's not much of a backstory, but it was enough to hook Japanese theme park goers. And more to the point, it was enough for people stateside to go, all right, let's give it another try. We're now going to reintroduce American theme park goers to Duffy. So, Lauren, we jump ahead now to 2010. And the Disney Bear, now officially known as Duffy, he debuts at Walt Disney World and at Disney California Adventure on October 14th of 2014. And by the way, that's weird because never mind. All right. And the Imagineers even build Duffy his very own pavilion right there on Paradise Pier. So if people wanted, they could come meet and greet this exciting new character. End result here, Lauren, nothing. American theme park goers still did not get Duffy. Again, his arrival at both Walt Disney World and the Disneyland Resort, another collective shrug. Whereas in 2010, this is actually a crucial part of the Duffy success story because that's the year that Shelley May, the second character in the line, and by the way, supposed to be Duffy's girlfriend, she's introduced January 22nd of 2010. And then in November that same year, Duffy makes his debut at Hong Kong Disneyland and quickly catches on with visitors to that theme park, which, Lauren, totally frustrates the folks in Florida and California because now they're 0 for 2. They spent all this time, all this money reintroducing Duffy to visitors to Stateside Park, only to have Duffy standing alone in his custom-built pavilion on Paradise Pier, for hours because people would walk by, look in, and go, "Well, who's that?" It's like, I'm not interested in seeing whoever that character is. Now, mind you, if we jump ahead to 2025, which, by the way, This is when the Tokyo Disney Resort is celebrating the 20th anniversary of Duffy's arrival in their theme parks with all sorts of hoopla, which we'll get to in a sec. The folks at the stateside parks are taking yet another stab at introducing Duffy to American theme park goers. Only this time around, Lauren, the approach they're taking isn't big and splashy, but rather slow and steady. And we'll get to the specifics of that approach in a moment. But first, this. And we're back. Okay, Lauren, I want people to get an understanding of the bigger picture when it comes to Duffy. So how's about you and I start off this part of the show talking about how many people within the Disney organization specifically work in the Duffy business? You got a guess?
Internationally? Because
Yes.
if it's domestically, I say like 2.
Okay, all right.
I don't know. 200.
Well, dial it down a little. There are 70 people who work, internationally when it comes to Duffy.
Okay. I didn't realize you could be like on a Duffy team. Like, I'm just Team Duffy.
Oh, well, it turns out there's a very dedicated team to Duffy. In fact, earlier this year, D23 held an event at the Grand Central Terminal Building. In fact, this was back in May. Grand Central Terminal Building is actually on the WDI campus in Glendale, California. And it was part of this presentation that stateside Duffy fans learned that, again, there were 70 people who, work to keep Duffy and his friends a going concern. And I'm not going to lie, as part of this event, it became clear that it does frustrate this same set of folks that Duffy and friends have yet to break through in the States in a big way. Now, they have had some limited successes. I mean, for example, people who attended Jollywood Nights at Disney's Hollywood Studios will often stand in line for hours to get their picture taken with Santa Duffy. And a weird little bend on the story, Lauren. When that after hours hard ticket, very much like Sweetheart Night we were just talking about at Disneyland, when it's held at this theme park in Florida, Santa is actually tossed out of Walt Disney Presents. This is where in Hollywood Studios, guests can...
We're Taylor Swift's costumes, right?
There we go. Taylor Swift's costume stays, but Santa gets tossed out of the building. You got to go, if you want to get your pictures taken with your kids, with Santa over the holiday season at that theme park, you got to do it during the day. Because at night, when they're presenting Jollywood Nights, Santa it is forced from his photo op, and Santa Duffy takes his place, which the feeling is now much more appropriately themed photo op space. Now, mind you, that started back in November of 2023. If we jump ahead to May of this year, 2025, want to point your attention to the Celebrate Happy Cavalcade, which rolled through Disneyland earlier this past year as part of that theme park's 70th anniversary celebration. And who led off this cavalcade of classic Disney characters like Mickey, Donald, Goofy, Minnie, Pluto, and Max, Chip and Dale? Lauren, it was walk-around versions of Duffy and Shelley May. And better yet, if we now pivot to the episode of Mickey Mouse Funhouse, which premiered on Disney Junior on October 30th of this year, past year, 2025. As part of that episode of that animated show, we got to see Mickey in a cartoon called Say Cheese. And who is Mickey holding as he appears in that cartoon? His teddy bear, Duffy. And this now, Lauren, is the stateside Disney company's new approach when it comes to introducing American consumers to Duffy. With the thinking now being slow and steady is what wins the race. So from here on in, Duffy's no longer being officially introduced. He's just there. All right? More to the point, he's always been there, and he's always gonna be there. This character will be part of the Disney ecosystem from here on in, whether you like it or not, with the hope that the next generation of Disney fans here in the States, will finally come to accept and fully embrace this plush. Now, not everything that Disney had in the works for stateside would-be Duffy fans, came to fruition. It's worth noting that back in 2022, again at a D23 Expo, it was announced that a Duffy and Friends animated series was in the works for Disney Junior. And as it's been explained to me, Lauren, a considerable amount of money and time had gone into this effort. But senior executives at Disney, when they were shown the Duffy and Friends pilot, weren't all that enthusiastic. So some folks have told me it's being retooled, and some of them have said that the project is on hold. Now, in contrast to the slow and steady approach that folks stateside have been taking with Duffy, if we could now pivot to what's going on at Shanghai Disneyland with this particular set of characters, there's no other way to explain this, Lauren. These people they haven't hammered on the gas pedal; it's flat on the floor. And I also want to remind people that back in 2018. Starting back in 2018, all of the Disney theme parks and resorts in Asia all got their own specific Duffy character. There was Cookie and the dog. She debuted at Hong Kong Disneyland, July of 2018. Ulimail, the turtle, was introduced at Aulani Disney Resort and Spa in Hawaii. By the way, just 3 weeks after Cookie Ann, on July 27th, again, 2018. And then in September of 2001, Lena Bell, the fox, was introduced at Shanghai Disneyland as part of that theme park and resort's 5th anniversary celebration. And this is the story that just fascinates me, Lauren. Just a few weeks after that happens, Remy's Patisserie, which had previously been located on Mickey Avenue, which is Shanghai Disneyland's equivalent of Main Street, USA, was shut down. So it could then be turned into the Cookie and Bakery Cafe, which opens its doors December 13th, 2021. Now, I want to stress here that Shanghai Disneyland took a pastry shop at that theme park that was based on an Academy Award-winning film, which, by the way, in 2 other Disney theme parks elsewhere on the planet, then served as the inspiration for a hit trackless vehicle attraction, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. But at Shanghai Disneyland, it's like, get rid of Remy's Patisserie and turn it into Cookie Ann's Bakery Cafe, because that's how truly popular this set of characters are to Asian Disney fans. Duffy trumps Remy. And we get further proof of this earlier this year when the Tribal Table, which is this giant quick service restaurant in the Adventure Isle section of Shanghai Disneyland, was shut down last year, or actually the year before last year, 2024, and then got transformed into the Duffy and Friends Celebration Hall. That opens January 13th, 2025, and offered diners the opportunity to be surrounded on all sides by Duffy and his friends. And then, Lauren, the kicker, September 2025 was actually Duffy Month at Shanghai Disneyland. And as part of this month-long festivity, the Shanghai Opera Company would come to the park every weekend in September and then perform with Duffy and Friends in front of this theme park's enchanted storybook castle. These live human performers and walk-around characters would then appear in a show entitled Enjoying the Moon with Duffy and Friends. And also want to remind you the Tokyo Disney Resort, which is where the whole Duffy phenomena started back Christmas Day 2005. It's been celebrating the 20th anniversary of the arrival of the Disney Bear at that resort with its own Heartfelt Letters event, which is running now at the Tokyo Disney Resort through March 19th, 2026. Also want to point out that Hong Kong Disneyland began celebrating its own 20th anniversary, the opening of that theme park in September of this past year, 2025, and that celebration featured Friendtastic, which is the biggest parade ever to be staged inside of that theme park. 11 floats, over 100 performers, 30 Disney characters, and among those 30 Disney characters are Duffy and all of his friends on their very own float. And speaking of things that float, when the Disney Adventure launches in Singapore, or from Singapore, in March of this coming year, 2026, it will not only be the biggest ship in the Disney Cruise Line fleet, it will also be the first ship of the line to feature a Duffy-themed show. This show, reportedly entitled Duffy and the Friendship, get it? Friendship.
That's smart.
Okay. It will feature an appearance by Tippy Blue, who is a rarely seen seagull friend of Duffy's. And speaking of friends of Duffy's, at that D23 event, which presented again at the Grand Central Terminal building on the Imagineering campus in Glendale back in May of this past year, 2025, it was very strongly insinuated, Lauren, by members, again, of the International Duffy team, that this little bear might be getting a new friend in the not-so-distant future. And just a quick recap, so we understand what we're doing here. We got Duffy, we got Shelly May, we got Gelatoni the cat, we got Stella Lou the rabbit, we got Cookie and the dog, Olamel the turtle, and finally again, Lena Bell the fox introduced for Shanghai Disneyland. And again, there's this the aforementioned Tippy Blue, which, by the way, I've been hearing that there will be Tippy Blue merch exclusively sold on the Disney Adventure in that ship's Duffy and Friends store, to be specific. So, but anyway, as for an actual eighth friend of Duffy, I want to remind folks of Disney Abu Dhabi. The resort and park that officially got announced on May 5th of this past year, 2025. And what I'm being told is yet another character is already in design for this park. With the notion of it then becoming a friend that will then be available for purchase. I mean, you get the idea. But as of right now, we don't have a name. We don't have, we don't know what animal it is. Perhaps as we get closer to the actual opening of Disney Abu Dhabi, which, depending on who you talk to, that resort could open as early as 2030, or more likely could be as far off as 2032. Anyway, Lauren, that is our Duffy update. Though in closing, I guess I should mention that in 2026, Tokyo Disney Seas will be celebrating its 25th anniversary, again, the opening of that theme park. And so in April of this coming year, 2026, Duffy and Friends are going to be strutting around that theme park in their brand new Jubilee Blue outfits, which will give all of you Duffy collectors out there something new to chase down. Likewise, Shanghai Disneyland Resort has just released their winter 2025 set of Duffy and Friend pins. There's a spinner pin, there's a hinge pin, there's a signature pin, and a set of mystery pins, which you're going to pay big bucks for on eBay. I'm just telling you right now. And I just have one question for all of you Duffy fans out there. What does Tippy Blue look like? I couldn't find anything as I was researching today's show. So, what does Duffy's seagull friend look like? But anyway, Lauren, that is our Duffy update, our follow-up on our earlier story. And again, I'm just fascinated that this merch line, I love the new approach stateside. It's like, okay, he's here. Whether you like him or not, he's here, and you're going to get used to him. Duffy has officially become the broccoli of the Disney food plate, or the parsley. He's going to be there, and you're just going to get used to him.
Just wash it down with whatever else you can. Anyways, I think on that note, that with our Duffy update, we close up shop for today.
By the way, folks, if you want to keep up on everything happening across the Jim Hill Media Podcast Network, follow us on social. And don't forget to check out our Patreon for bonus shows and early access.
Yes, and we absolutely love to hear from you. If you have ideas for 2026 for I Want That Too, shoot us a message. Jim can be found at jim@jimhillmedia.com, and I am at lauren@laurenhersey.com.
And if you like the show, do Lauren and I a favor. Leave us a quick rating or review. It helps other Disney fans find I Want That Too.
All right, that does it for today's episode. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on I Want That Too.